Today's world includes 1.5 billion children who are between the ages of 4 to 14. The children are at risk, the children are in crises, and the children face needs. At every major global mission conference, there was specific consideration of the ministry to children. Berlin 1966, Luzon 1974, and Luzon 1989. At Luzon 2 at Manila in 1989, they launched the AD 2000 movement under the leadership of Dr. Louis Bush to reach out to every people group, including children. When Transform World Movement was inaugurated in May 2005 at Jakarta, there was a children track. The emphasis of the children was modified to address the 414ers in partnership with the efforts of Compassion International and the Promise Foundation. Dr. Dan Brewster proposed the importance of the age group 4 to 14 for the ministry of compassion around the world. Pastor Kim Nam-soo led his whole church to pray for the children of the world and to join hands with global developments for the children. The 414 Global Summit met for the first time at New York in August 2009 with 350 delegates. It set goals to widen the vision for the children around the world. There was a Global Summit 1 in 2009 with Professor Dr. Siga Arles of CFCC India, Professor Dr. Wilbert Schenk of Fuller Theological Seminary, and Professor Dr. Darrell Bock of Dallas Theological Seminary. They tried to hear and interpret the mission thought within the various tracks, but there was not enough time for the report to be considered. A year later, in September 2010, the 414 Global Summit 2 met at the same venue in New York and deepened the vision for the children and planned further constructive involvements. Global Summit 2 did not have a missiology track but proposed a separate conference for missiology. Planning for such was taken up with diligence by a steering committee which led the Now and Next Theological Conference on Children. Child Theology Movement linked with the above two and drew 100 people from around the world to a Now and Next Theological Conference on Children at Nairobi, Kenya during March 2011. We now have the compendium from that gathering in our hands, which addressed the question of children from a theological and theological educational perspectives. The Global Alliance for Holistic Child Development was mooted through the Compassion International, and it met at several places and settings to initiate holistic child development courses in the seminaries in Malaysia, Philippines, India, Kenya, Caribbean, California, and elsewhere. It was felt that still we had not sufficiently explored into the missiology for the 414er involvement. Hence, we proposed that there ought to be a missiology track at Global Summit 3 in Singapore. Track description. Missiology track during the 414 Global Summit 3 at Singapore brings together folk who are either teaching missiology or are researchers in missiology or are involved in mission work, mainly among children. They will work to identify, firstly, the missiological basis for the work among 414ers, secondly, the missiological methodology for the work among the 414ers, and thirdly, the missiological synergy for the work among the 414ers. Missiological basis will study the biblical and theological content. Missiological methodology will study the historical development around the world, and missiological synergy will study the way forward in cooperative enterprises. Missiology track looks forward to a great time together here at Singapore and a great future for the sake of the children of the world in our time. As a result of the deliberations of Global Summit 3 at Singapore, we expect definite changes in the future. Transform World Movement shall synergize year after year. By 2020, we expect that the churches around the world would have grown in ecumenical unity. All local congregations would take the children seriously. All theological training programs shall locate the child in the center. Child rights would be established to protect every boy and girl. Adults who exploited, misused, hurt, and hindered would be put down. All child-centered ministries would work together to reach out to common goals. Justice shall flow like water. Earth shall be filled with the knowledge of God. Ingrown adult ways of selfishness and corruption shall cease and submit, and pave the way for the children to lead the way. Innocence, righteousness, and godliness shall characterize humanity. Every mouth shall be fed, every human shall be dignified. The least, last shall be redeemed, transformed, christened. God shall reign. May our dreams be fulfilled. To God be the glory. Amen.